Hey everybody, it is episode 2 of Uno Taco. Welcome back. This is, it's interesting because last week in our first episode of Uno Taco, there wasn't one taco. I didn't do it in one take, but hey, it's the first episode. So here we are back at it again, and I have some gourmet tacos for you today. But today is a special day when you see this episode. I'm actually filming it on Election Day here November 3rd, this Tuesday of 2020. So it's a big day for our country. So in order to celebrate, I wanted to go to support a national sort of brand, I guess, with the theme of the USA, but also local people. So none other than the Taco Bell. So as you can see here, this Taco Bell here locally, I've actually not been to this Taco Bell yet, but as many people who have gone to college in the United States may find, this is a American brand that has gotten many college students through many dark days of poverty, or at least emotional poverty and financial poverty. So let's go ahead and get into this. So if you'll see, we have today's first offering is a Republican soft taco. So I'm looking forward to testing this. It's drenched in red, and looking forward to that because it's a special episode today. It's Election Tuesday, so these are gonna be no ordinary taco discussions. So let's dive in. It's just like I remember it. Wow. Maybe this might sound picky, but I'm pretty sure there's less meat in it now than there used to be, but that's just me. It has been a while. Okay. Well, sort of to really get the idea going, I'm gonna have to apologize 'cause I'm probably gonna end up with colors and stuff in my teeth and everything, but I think the reason that this whole bipartisan conversation, the reason that so much of today for me as a millennial, as a dad, the reason it feels icky, if I may use that word, the reason it kind of feels tension, anxious, there's excitement around it. I realize that there's enthusiasm on every side, but I think the ickiness comes from sort of the language that you hear, the how really obvious it is this time around. I think more than ever with the with the opportunity of social media, like here on YouTube, you're hearing so much. You can find whatever you want here. You can find arguments for all sides. You can find people that think like you. You can find people that you would get your blood boiling, get you angry, and you like to argue with, right? Comment sections, if you will. But I think the language around this day is so unique, and I think it's so divisive, and I think we've ended up with two major political parties, and on one side it seems like the narrative is about sort of this power versus weakness, right? If you vote for this candidate, there's more about power and dominance, and it's about power and greatness. On the other side, you have a conversation, I think, with the language that's been used has sort of given this impression of it's good versus evil or good versus bad. It's do you pick powerful or do you pick good? Do you pick, do you give in to evil or do you give in to weakness, right? And so there's sort of this versus, right? There's definitely this tension. And I think that's why the language around this has gotten so many people emotional, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do, because that's marketing, that's politics. I mean, I've been in sales before. I maybe it's not as obvious to other people. I think it's why it kind of feels disgusting sometimes. It's just how it's used and how people really put aside any sort of care for the fellow human in order to get their way. And I think that's something that we should work on doing better, is just caring for one another. So I don't want to make this too long today, but we also have a Democratic soft taco, a special order from Taco Bell. So I'm really looking forward to digging into this. It looks pretty blue. I think some of the conversation has to come back to how do we serve one another? How do we care for people? I think both sides have brought that up. And I think if you don't believe that both sides have brought that up, you haven't been listening. It's definitely about who are you serving, right? And on one side, it seems like both sides, at least if you're looking at the other side of the aisle, it's kind of like the other side is selfish, right? And our side is about the people or the greater good or about unity. And I think if both sides are kind of about unity but about blaming the other, then we end up in this circle. And then, yes, I understand there's more than two political parties, but just kind of picking on that, because on election day, why couldn't we be aware? Why couldn't we just have a taco and have a conversation across the table with someone that doesn't agree with us? I would hope that that comes out of this. I'd hope that I shared some posts. I don't really do political posts on social media very much, and where I personally stand and what I believe. But just sharing about language, and how the narrative has sort of shaped where we're at right now. And it is a narrative. It's a narrative for all sides. That's politics. That's campaigning. They choose words to use that are most strategic for their position in their political party, and that's their job. That's what they're there to do. And I think we can't look to politics to define how we interact together as humans. And I would hope that we would not give the power to politicians, career politicians, regardless of what side. I hope that we wouldn't give them so much power that we wouldn't be able to feel like we could have a conversation, right? Because we're against each other. And that's what we've been told to do. So the Democratic taco is fairly similar to the Republican taco. I would love for you to analyze that and totally read into what I'm actually saying subconsciously and in between the lines here. I'm going to finish that in a minute, but let's have conversations, let's not let the again, because there's things on the line here. I recognize, like, racism is idiotic and selfish and horrible, and just there's not even a discussion there. Like, if you don't agree on that, if you are a racist, I do not hate you. I do not condemn you to death, or I don't want to damn you. But you're wrong. So me yelling and screaming at you isn't going to help. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help me. Sorry, my dog's running around chasing a ball by himself in the leaves, so excuse the noise. And maybe he can be featured one of these times on Uno Taco. But it's so interesting that we kind of have this situation where, it would be hard for me to have a conversation face to face with, like, a neo-Nazi. I get it, but they're still a human. They still have feelings. They still have a background. They still have a story. I can't judge how they came to this conclusion. I would also have a problem having a discussion with some other folks that, are, for example, let's just go to one extreme, maybe. I know it's a little emotional for me. I admit that. This isn't some sort of civilized discussion, but, someone who's a sex trafficker, modern day slavery that we're facing. It's a terrible, terrible level right now, and it's only growing. Why? What can we do about that? If I was having a conversation with a person like that, obviously we wouldn't be talking about politics. I'd be trying to kill them. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But there are more realistic, down to earth conversations we can have today about healthcare, about women's rights, about racial equality and inequality where we see it. We could talk about policies and taxes and stuff like that. We can have a conversation, and I think people are trying to do that, and I want to be able to do that, and I want to hear other people's perspectives and not just wallow my own. But again, here I am, I'm not talking about who I'm voting for. I have voted. I voted earlier. I hope you voted. But in order to sort of wash down all this bipartisanness, I don't know. I'm gonna. Oh man, Well, being we'll just call it the libertarian taco. I think it was kind of purple. Didn't work well. But anyway, thanks for joining me here today on Uno Taco episode 2 for this very special election day episode. It's not bad. And I cheers to you wherever you are. Can't wait till next time. Have a good one, and like and subscribe if you want to see more content. If you don't, cool. If you want to comment, ask questions, I'll be involved in the comments. For all, 2 of you who watch this or more, I'm acknowledging you if you're not the first 2 that watch this, or if this is way in the future. But thanks for joining. Thanks for joining for Uno Taco. See you next time.